come to a point in the beginning of the year where we are now going to talk about solving multi-step algebraic equations. And a lot of you struggle when you get multi-step algebraic equations. You look at it and you say, I don't know where to start first, okay? Well, that ends today because I have the list of what you need to follow when you're solving multi-step algebraic equations. So what you're going to be looking for, which I'm going to be going over examples one at a time in this video, but what you need to look for first when you're solving a multi-step algebraic equation is the first step is distributive property. If there's any distributive property opportunity, that's what you're going to go for first. After you've completed distributive property, then you go on to looking for combining like terms. After you've combined like terms, you need to see if there are variables on both sides of the equal sign. And what I'm going to let you know is you cannot have, absolutely not, you cannot have variables on both sides, and you would need to take care of that. And then finally, solving for the variable, okay? This is what you should have already written down in your notes before I started playing this video, but this is what you're going to follow every single time you solve a multi-step algebraic equation, and you will get it right every time, okay? So now we're going to come over to our first example that talks about step one, which is the distributive property. Here's an equation, so I need you to write this down, which is -8 times, these parentheses mean multiplication, times 2x minus 1 equals 36. So the step one in solving a multi-step algebraic equation is, do we have the distributive property? Yes, we do. Would you mind getting a calculator for me over there? Thanks. So here we have a multi-step algebraic equation, and we have the distributive property. Thank you. So we're going to start with the distributive property, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to distribute the -8 to both terms inside. So we have -8 times 2x, which is a -16x, and then a -8 times a -1 gives us a +8, and then that's equal to 36. So what you did was you took care of the distributive property, and now you just have a regular two-step algebraic equation, and you should be able to look at this and tell me what are the two steps that need to be taken care of here. We're going to subtract 8 from both sides and divide by a -16. So we have subtract 8 from both sides, -16x equals 28. Okay, and then we're going to divide by -16 on both sides. Those cancel, x equals. Now, a positive divided by a negative gives us a negative, so we're going to put negative here. And those are both multiples of 4, so we have 7/4. Our answer is a -7/4, okay? So, I'm moving on to the next example. Okay, hopefully this will, okay. So this is an example of a multi-step equation where we have to combine like terms, okay? So as you can see, go ahead and write this down. We have 5 equals 5m minus 23 plus 2m, okay? And so we do have an opportunity in this example to combine like terms. We have a positive 5m here and a positive 2m here. And so what I like to do is draw the rainbow, okay, corny as it is. We're going to draw the rainbow to show visually that those are the like terms that we need to combine to solve this. And then we bring down what we have left over. We have 5 equals, now 5m, a positive 5 and a positive 2 give us a positive 7. And then we have a -23, okay? And so once again, we're down to a regular two-step algebraic equation where we're going to add 23 to both sides and divide by 7. So when we add 23 to both sides, those cancel, and we have a 28 equals 7m. Divide by 7 on both sides, m equals 4. Okay, so while you're writing that down, I'm going to get the next example on the board. Okay, so now we're going to talk about solving equations with variables on both sides. This, I think, is the most confusing for students, okay? So let me unfreeze, and here's our new example. Okay, so I actually want to move it down a little bit so you can see the title. Okay, solving an equation with variables on both sides. All right, so here we have the variable 5x here, and we have the variable 2x here, okay? So what you need to know, if anything, it's extremely important, okay? What you need to know, I really want to move this, once again, more centered, so let me do that real quick, put that right smack in the center. What you need to know, you guys, is that you cannot have variables on both sides of the equal sign. You cannot have this. You cannot have variables on both sides. You have to either move the variable to the right side of the equal sign, or you need to move it to the left. And so either way you choose, you're going to get the correct answer anyway. But I'm going to show you something, so don't write down this first part yet. I just want to show you something first. So say supposing you're looking at this and say, oh, well, there's variables on both sides of this equal sign. We can't have that. So I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides because I have to do the opposite of what I was given, right? So what's the opposite of a positive 5x? That would be negative 5x. So say supposing we subtracted 5x from both sides. Totally fine. The 5x's cancel here, and let's bring down our 2. So we have 2, and then 2 minus 5 is a negative 3x plus 14. There is absolutely nothing wrong with what we have here. This is totally fine. But what I know about students is they don't like working with fractions and they don't like working with negative numbers. And here we found we have a negative result. This is a negative 3x. Why is it a negative 3x? Because we had a positive 2 and we subtracted 5 and we got a negative result, a negative 3x. Even this is totally fine, by the way. You're going to get the correct answer anyway. But like I said, students prefer to work with either fractions. They don't like to work with fractions or negative numbers. So let's do the other possibility here. So we're going to move now this variable to the other side. Okay, so we're going to do that by doing the opposite of what we were given. So the opposite of a positive 2 is a negative 2x. So we're going to subtract 2x from both sides. Those cancel, and 5 minus 2 is 3x. So here we wound up with a positive result. Bring down the positive 2 and a positive 14. And now we have a regular two-step algebraic equation. So we're going to subtract 2 and divide by 3 to solve for x. And if we divide by 3 on both sides, x equals 4. Okay? And so our last and final example for the video is putting it all together. Okay, so you can't see what I'm seeing right now, so hold on one second. I'm going to try and center it for you. So let me erase this, and we're gonna I'm going to refer to you're going to refer to your list again. Okay. So starting from the top, this has every possibility in it, okay, that we were discussing on the left side here, okay. Starting from the top, can you bring the camera over so they can see it? Okay. So starting from the top with this example, you look at the example and say, is there a distributive property opportunity? Yes. So then let's do that first, okay? So here's our distributive property opportunity. We're going to distribute, we have distributive property on both sides, okay? So 2 times 5x is 10x, 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 11 is a positive 33. Okay, so we just did the distributive property, so you can just put like, you know, a check mark. Now we're going to look for combining like terms, okay? Do we have any combining like term opportunities here as a result? No. So I'm just going to put a check there because there is no combining like terms, but now we need to check for variables on both sides, okay? Do we have variables on both sides here? Yes, we do. What is the important decision we need to make at this time? We need to move the variable to one side of the equal sign, but we also need to be smart about it and say, which one are we going to move so we can get a positive result? Well, if I subtract 3 from 10, that will give me a positive result. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides, 3x, and we have 7x minus 2 equals 33. And now we just have a regular two-step algebraic equation. So we're going to add 2 and divide by 7 on both sides. Add 2, bring down your 7x. 7x equals 35, 33 plus 2 is 35, divide by 7 on both sides, x equals 5. And that is basically how, if you can bring it over here again, okay, that is basically how we solve multi-step algebraic equations, okay? So no longer are we going to say to ourselves, I don't know what to do first, because yes, you do. These are the steps we're going to follow, and we're always going to start with looking for the distributive property, if there's a distributive property opportunity first, and go down the line from there. I'm going to leave this up here for the unit exam, but we need to practice these steps today. Okay, thank you.